Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today is the third video in the Backpack Bash Bonanza series, and today I am making the Guardian backpack by Linds Handmade. Now, I know I say this with every freaking video, but I mean it. This one I've been wanting to make for a very long time, and I don't know what I was waiting on, but I'm so glad that I did. As you can see, this is the largest bag that we have made thus far, and this probably will be the largest overall size. So you can see I made mine out of all cork. I went into this bag knowing that I would make it for myself, so I used some of this deco cork that I have been hoarding, I guess would be the proper word, for quite some time. And I paired it with black cork and then Ecolux, and then I did the bottom in Siah leather, and you can see I quilted it here. With the quilting, I used flex foam, so FF77 by Pellon, and then I did a layer of decovil light on top of that to add just a little bit of structure. Other than that, I did not interface anything in the bag except for the lining. So the webbing is from Georgia Girl Stitches. It'll be linked below. The zipper tape is from Wawak. Look at this really cool zipper pull. It's a Mad Hatter, because if you know anything about me, I'm a Mad Hatter. And then because I knew it was for me, I also used this cotton lining. I have been harboring this as well. And I hilariously tried to put a water bottle holder in, and you can see it's just a little big, but it works for all intents and purposes. If you've never seen the Guardian, what rock are you living under? But if you haven't, it is an anti-theft backpack. So this is actually the front panel, and it only opens along the back. And then there are two side pockets. I don't know what you could really fit in the side pockets besides maybe a cell phone or some keys. I guess maybe just like other small stuff, but everything else fits inside wonderfully, obviously. It has two slip pockets here. You can make the slip pocket however large, wide, tall you want to. You can add a zipper pocket in here very easily as well. It has this really cool handle on top. And yeah, other than that, let's see. So I used these cool attachers, what am I saying? Strap anchors. So I found these because, you know, I'm in my D-ring rivet phase, D-ring rivet era. So I found these online, and I'm definitely going to be adding these to my bags more often, especially the larger bags. They're just a really fun pop of hardware, but also very useful, like a very good functional piece of hardware. So all that being said, this bag gave me a run for every single dollar that I have. Now, I was expecting some hardship, so I went in knowing that it was at least an intermediate bag just based on how it's made. You know, side panels are always a little challenging for me. Having to ease anything in is a challenge for me. And that is just my skill level. So I knew that it was going to be a little bit of a challenge. So yeah, the side panels, if you've watched any Guardian bags, you know that the side panels can be tough. So that is to be expected. So go slow, take your time. It can be done. That I promise you. Just take your time. Other than that, check out Lauren's video, Mormino's video. I'll try to find it and link it below, or it'll be like up here on one of the bars. She has a hack video where because, you know, she's made several, and so she goes through the hacks that she has found to make the construction a little bit easier. So definitely check out her video as well. And yeah, so without further ado, enjoy the Guardian backpack. Oh yeah, and if at any point you are enjoying this video, please give me a thumbs up, a like. You can feel free to share it, save it to your Pinterest board, do all of that stuff. And also, this is a long video. So all in all, from cutting to finishing, and truth be told, I didn't finish. You'll see at the end, I didn't even bind the bag because I was like over it at the end of it. And it's for me, so I didn't, whatever. Maybe one day I'll go back and bind it. But it's a long video. So I went through and I got timestamps for you. So you can find all the timestamps in the description box below. And if you click those little timestamps, it'll skip directly to that point in the video. So be sure to use those. And good on ya. If you watch the whole video, I would really appreciate it. It definitely helps with the algorithm and views. And so I appreciate all of you. Thanks for being here. Enjoy the video. See you at the end. Okay, finally got everything all cut and ready to go. This thing was a little bit of a beast for me to figure out. And I think probably that's common, especially with the front or the back panel. I ran into a couple snafus with this, but you know, we'll see if it causes a problem. It might, but if it does, we'll just get through it together. So for my materials, I have 2 straps cut out. I'm using this really beautiful woven strap from Georgia Girl Stitches. And then this is going to be my little grab handle as well. And then I have my grab handle accent. I have my zipper cut. And then instead of cutting 4 pieces for my zipper connectors that go on either end, I just cut one big long piece of cork. So we'll see if that works out. But if you want to follow that, I just took the measurement and doubled the length and got those. And then this is my back panel. You can see here's the actual cutout. So I'm using the Ecolux cork for the back. And then my side panels, I'm using black cork. And then for my bottom, I have some black Siah leather, which if you've been following me, then you know I like to use Siah leather on the bottom of my bags because it is basically indestructible. And so I love that for a base of a bag. You can see here, I added some quilting lines. So I put a piece of flex foam, what was it? Flex foam, oh, FF77 by Pellon. And then I put a piece of decovil light on top of it to give it some nice structure. And then this bad boy is my main panel. Now I've been holding out on some of the Fabric Funhouse prints for a really long time, this deco being one of them. And I think it is a large piece of cork, but it's this front panel, the Guardian really lends itself to show off a nice panel. And so I wanted to do something that would be striking and bold. And since I'm making this bag for myself, I thought, why not go with what's in my stash? So hopefully all of this works together well and it doesn't power clash, which it might, but I don't think so. I think we'll be good. All right, so moving on to the lining pieces. I am using this really funky and fun planchette with hands and moons. It's very tattooy. I really dig it. I've been holding on to this for quite some time as well. So this is going to be my inside slip pocket. Now, I'm just going like way off base because I never use slip pockets in bags for myself, but I'm going to give it a shot. Maybe I'll like it. Oh, also, I just reminded. So these are from Brandon's 40th birthday party on Saturday. We all dressed up like him, and so we covered ourselves in fake tattoos. So these are all fake tattoos, so don't mind those. But I just caught a glimpse. I'm used to them now. I've had them on for a couple days now, but yeah, it's kind of funny. Anyway, so inside pocket. And now I'm going to change this up a little bit. What I did is I took the measurement that Linds gives in her pattern, and then I just cut one piece of decovil light. And you can see I'm going to fold it in half like so. And then I'm going to cover the top with a piece of cork. So it'll have a cork strip right along the top. And that measurement is one of these. It's the length of the pocket. And then I cut the width at 1.25 inches. So whatever the length is, I guess I can measure that, huh? So 10 inches wide by 1.25, I made for my little cork overlay strip that's going to go there. And then I waffled a lot on the side pockets on the exterior. I don't know how useful they will actually be. Like my water bottle is really big, so I don't think that it's going to fit in these pockets. But I figured it might be good for a cell phone or, you know, what other random keys. I'm not really sure. But, you know, I figured why not. So I have my 2 linings here. And then I'm doing mine out of cork on the outside. So I just took that. Linds gives you one big measurement and then you fold it in half to create the pocket. So I just took that and divided it in half. And then I put decovil light on those pockets as well. Then here is my inside base. And then now on the rest of my lining pieces, I used, why am I brain farting right now? I used from Castine Handcrafted, her interfacing. I cannot remember the name of it right now, but I'm sure by the time I put the video out, I will have remembered it. So check in the description box for that. But I use that on all the rest of my pieces. So this is my inside the bottom of my pocket section or zipper section, the funky top zipper section, and then the main panel. This is actually going to be on the front of the bag. So when you open the bag and look inside, this is where our pocket, my slip pockets are going to be. And I'm hoping that that's enough. I considered adding a zipper pocket here with an overlay, but I'm hoping that having 2 slip pockets is going to be enough. And we'll figure it out. We'll go. We'll see. Now, as far as notions, I got this really cool Mad Hatter zipper pull at So Magical in Florida. I cannot remember the name of the gal who sold me this, but I'll try to do some recon and get that information. This is a bound bottom bag, so I have some black bias tape. And then I have my 2 tags. I'm going to do this one from Lauren. It says may contain spooky shadoobies. And then my SewGnar tag, my brand heat presses on the Fritz again, so back to the old trusty. And then now you need, for the straps, you need some strap adjusters, so I have 2 of those. And I did not have matching hardware for lobster clasps, so I'm using these. These are from the Sewing Room in Garner, where I get my double stick tape, and I feel like they're close enough. If anybody notices, you know, good on them, good eye, but I'm going to use those. And then now the only thing so far that I'm straying on is the D-ring connectors. So I'm avoiding using D-rings, and I'm going to try out this cool hardware set that I got and see if I can make this work. I thought that this would be cool, like on the side. Well, it wouldn't go here, but it'll go somewhere. It'll probably have to go on the back. See, here's the side panel. Probably have to go somewhere in this neighborhood because the D-ring would go right here on the side panel. So I think I'm just going to attach it right to the outside. And I'm hoping it lays nicely. It might, I don't know. Well, we're going to give these a go. These are, if you've watched my past several videos, then you know that I'm really obsessed with the D-ring rivets right now. I use them on every bag that I make. And then this is kind of like the D-ring rivet's big sister. And so it has this brass plate, and then it bumps up in the center, and then it comes with this big D-ring. And so I've been waiting to find something to try these on, and I think that this will fit the bill. Then, of course, I've got my rivets ready and some double stick tape and some scissors. All of the natural or usual suspects. But so let's get going. You know, every time I cut out a new bag, it like takes me forever to formulate what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it. And then I just get overwhelmed with this step. I did film the cutting out. I'm not sure at this point if I'm going to put it out for you guys. You'll already know by now, if you're watching this video, if I had put it out or not. But if I did, then you could see that it took me a while to cut everything. But yeah, I have a hard time when I'm first starting a new bag pattern, how to formulate it. You know, usually by the second or third one, I know exactly what goes where and what the issues are with construction. But because this is my first time making this bag, it's so abstract to me right now. I did actually watch a couple videos, which I usually never do. So I'm coming in a little bit more prepared than normal, but still definitely, I'm a little apprehensive. This is a big bag. It's a lot of materials. And so I'm just interested to see how it all shakes out. But, oh yeah. So here's the piece I was looking for earlier. This is my pocket top. I want this. So I'm gathering my pocket top strip and then my handle strip. And what I'm going to do is I want to finish these edges so that they don't fray because I'm leaving these raw. So I'm going to go ahead and put Mod Podge on them now before I move on. So that way it's nice and dry once I get to them. A lighter, here we go. And so for this one, I really just need to do 3 sides because this side's going to be enclosed. But if you wanted to, you could add a little pop of color here. That would be a really subtle, fun detail to add if you want to take the time to do that. I don't. Shocking. I know. All right. And then this guy, we need to do all 4 sides. I think that having this little strip of the natural looking cork on the inside of the bag is going to hopefully add a little bright pop contrast in there because everything is going to be so dark going with the black interior. So we'll see. Hopefully it all shakes out. I feel like this might be a good bag to put like a key leash inside. And it'd be really simple to add a sunglasses pouch too. I might actually do that now that I think about it. Because since I wear glasses all the time now, I have prescription sunglasses too. And I'm always swapping them out and needing somewhere to put them. Okay, so we got these prepped and ready to go. And then obviously this guy's prepped. So I'm going to put this to the side. I'm going to take this over once I go over there. And I'm going to do my strap. So on your strap, you have to find your center. And then you mark 2 inches from the center to denote where this guy goes. Oh, just follow directions. I was already trying to go off on my own, but stay the course, Nicole. Geesh. All right, so 2 inches. Kind of hard to see with this webbing, so maybe just mark it like this. So I'm just going to clip this into place, and now I know that this is where I'm going to lay my strip to start. But so what you need to do is you have to fold this in on itself so that you can fold this accent around it. But because this is so thick, it's going to be a pain in the butt. It's nothing like starting off a new pattern with a good challenge. You see, I'm going to measure some double stick tape over here. So that way I know that whenever I'm folding this, I'm folding enough of it. So just trying to go right down the center there. Okay. I'm really excited to make this bag. I've been eyeing it for a really long time. Just hadn't had the time or the guts to go for it. These really big bags can be so intimidating. And so I just know that it's going to be a time-consuming bag to make, but I think it's going to be really well worth it. All right, so I'm just going to put some double stick tape, put 3 pieces on this accent piece here, just so that way I have enough and I know it's going to stick really well. You can actually see that double stick tape is really holding this nicely. Another clip so this thing stops turning on me. Okay, so now we got to find the side that, okay, that's it. So this side here is the side that I did not put Mod Podge on. So this is the side that I'm going to enclose. And now my fold is on this edge. And then before I actually unstick the other tape, I'm just going to test it. I think I actually want to move it a little bit more. Okay, so I laid it with just a little strip here, but then when you encase it, it leaves a decent gap on this side. So I'm going to try to move that. I'm going to try to close that gap just a touch. So then that way, when I'm sewing it, my sewn lines are not uneven. Okay. There we go. Yep, that's much better. Okay, so I just backed it up toward me a little bit more, made that gap just a little bigger. And now I can peel off my other tape. actually really impressed at how well this tape is holding on this webbing. Thought it was going to be more of a challenge. Okay, so now there we go. We've got it enclosed, and you can see it basically goes right to the edge now. I'm just going to add a couple clips. I have a sneaky suspicion that this is going to be a huge pain to sew. So I'm thinking I might just add rivets to it, just off the rip, and not even mess with it. And I'm going to do that. Yep, made that decision. So I'm just going to go straight in with my rivets and not even bother with trying to sew this. And of course, I'm going to really pay attention to them, that they're centered, because this is going to be pretty obvious. And I'm going to do every fourth hole here. Hopefully it measures evenly. And it doesn't, of course. Okay. Because I want them to be far enough away to where the whole thing isn't all rivets, but I want them to be close enough together that it's going to really secure this entire strap. Somebody's driving by my house with some deep bass right now. Apologize if you can hear that. Okay. So there are the marked dots. I just put 2 right here at the very edge, and then I counted over 4 holes, and then another 4. So maybe it did work out. Now let's hope this works out. I have these big boys here. This looks like it'll fit perfectly. Yep. I wonder, though, my big rivets might be too close to the edge, so I might have to do some 2 different sizes here, which might look cool. Let's see. I think that looks pretty darn cool. Rivet that into place. Ooh, almost threw my damn shoulder out on that one. Jeez. I'm doing lots of cartwheels at Brandon's birthday too. That probably doesn't help my shoulder here. But there's that. I'd love that. I think that looks really cute. And then now I feel like that just saved me a lot of heartache with having to pull stitches. Okay, so I don't have to prep that. But another thing that I can prep, and you know, you're sewing with me, so you know I'm going to go off script. So the other thing that I'm going to get prepped before I go over to the machine is my zipper, and then probably my inside pocket. So to do the zipper, we need to, of course, add our zipper pull. Look at how cute that little Mad Hatter is. I love him. Gosh, like I can picture the person perfectly in my head of who I bought it from. They had it. Okay, I don't know if anybody was there with me. So I was over here at So Magical. Lauren was here. There's a person right next to me that was selling a bunch of zipper pulls, but it wasn't them. It was the person right behind them. And she had a ton of character pulls and all sorts of stuff, but a lot of like licensed, seemingly, stuff. I don't really know too much about that whole aspect, so I can't speak too much on it, but the girl that was behind me had a lot of stuff that fit into this theme. This chick had a bunch of like almost Disney style stuff. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay on this side, I'm going to lay my zipper tab, this giant zipper tab, right sides down, and clip it with the idea that whenever I sew across the bottom, then I'll get that nice folded edge, to which I'll just lay this on the inside. So I need to add some Mod Podge to that side too. And then I'm going to do the same over here. Okay. Let's add a little bit of Mod Podge. I don't think that this on the inside of the bag will be too bad, but you know, we're here. I've got the Mod Podge over here already. Might as well, right? If anything's worth doing, it's worth doing right, I suppose. Okay, now some other prep work. I'm gonna prep the pockets. So I need to prep these pockets that go on the outside as well as the pocket that's gonna go here on the inside. And look at this, already happening. My interfacing is already becoming unstuck. Okay, so don't need that one, don't need that one. Here we go. So these are gonna be my exterior pockets. And the only thing I'm really paying attention to is the grain of this cork. So you can see this cork has vertical grain, or you can make it horizontal, but the rest of my bag is going to be vertical. So I'm going to be really careful and make it vertical as well. So I'm going to lay these right sides together. And then my thought on this is I'm just going to stitch right across the top like normal. And then there, that's it. We're not going to do anything crazy. Okay, vertical. I think that this might be it for the prep work for now. So I will see you over at the machine. Okay, so I have a size 18 needle. I am using a size 4 stitch length, and then I have Tex 45 black thread by Siah Swag. And then I just realized I don't want to use contrasting threads. So whenever I top stitch this, I'm going to switch over to tan thread. And so I'm actually going to just do my quilting first. And then something that is really important is, especially with these thicker threads, I haven't noticed Druzy paying any attention to my threads up until I started using these thicker text threads. I think it's because she can see them. So like the other threads, you know, your Gutermann 120, your Gutermann 100, your Aurifils, those are so much thinner that I don't think she ever really noticed my threads. But now when I leave them on my table, she'll play with them. It's really important that you don't let your animals eat the thread. And if any of you have anything to say about me letting Druzy in here, you can kindly keep that comment to yourself, because I pay attention to what she's doing, which is why I wanted to point that out as well. But I know that everybody's got an opinion about everything. And, you know, You do what you want to do in your studio, but just a friendly warning that if you're new to these thicker threads and you are a pet-friendly studio, watch them. Don't let them play with them. So now I'm switching over to a tan thread since I'm going to be top stitching on the Ecolux Cork. And this one is Tech 70 Amman thread from Wawak. Okay, so now that I've got that stitch across there, my idea is I'm just going to pull it down, finger press and clip it into place, and then I'm going to line up this raw edge with my folded edge. Actually, I'm going to overlap it like a 16th, 18th of an inch, just to ensure that I catch it whenever I'm top stitching. And then, of course, you can use double stick tape here to hold everything if you want to. And then there we go. So now we have a nice finished edge here on the front and a nice raw, clean edge on the inside. And then we have that entire same length that we need to have for the pattern. So I'm just going to come down here and repeat that process. Okay. Actually, just had a thought. I might toss. I was thinking I could kind of do some quilting lines down through here to lock these pieces together. Huh, might as well. Oh, I need to switch back to my size 4 before I keep sewing. I like size 4 for construction, but I like 5 stitch length for quilting. Like actual quilting. This crazy quilting, not so much. I don't care. But this is the Tech 70 thread too, so you can see it's like such a big difference. So I'm just going to add some quilting lines down here as well. Yeah, I also apologize about my voice. We just got back from Brandon's birthday yesterday, so I'm a little hoarse. We had a fantastic time. We got 22 of our friends together and rented a giant beach house on Oak Island, and it was really, really fun. All right, so here's our completed zipper. And then now we just need to sew our side pockets. So I'm just going to be using a 1/4 inch seam allowance like I always do. The pattern's seam allowance is different. So if you pay attention to that kind of thing, take note. I'm going to do my regular top stitch where I don't catch my lining. So it looks like this. I just thought about it. What could be cool here too, you could add some stitches here, which I might do. Think about that for a second. Okay, so I want to finish up my side pocket before I move on. I am just going to add a couple strips of double stick tape here just to make sure that nothing shifts around and moves on me. A lot of people always ask me why I don't top stitch the lining. And honestly, it's because I don't want to. Sorry, I'm feeling salty today. It's mainly because when a pattern calls for that, it's usually like on the inside of a zipper, or frankly, I can never really get it to look perfect and nice and straight on both sides how I like it. So I find that if I can skip stitching my lining, then it just has a nice crisp folded edge, and the outside has the nice edge that's top stitched, and it doesn't make any difference whatsoever. So I find that it doesn't need it. Say as I have to peel this apart. That's because of the tape. Okay, so now those are in place. And so what the pattern says to do is you line up this bottom edge, you clip, and then you slide the edge over to create a little ease in here toward the top. So it's going to give this pocket some depth. Let's see, so it's like that. And so I'm going to do that on this side. Okay, now I'm going to keep these clipped until we go over back to the machine, and then I'm just going to baste these into place and hold them. And so now the other thing that I want to prep before we go back over there is this lining pocket. And so my thought on this, the way that Linds has you do it is basically fold right sides together, and you sew all around and you flip. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to fold it right sides together and I'm going to sew, but I'm only going to sew around these two short edges here. And then when I flip, A, it's going to be easier to flip because the opening is going to be much larger. But B, I'll just encase that raw edge with that strip of cork that I cut earlier. I really like the accent color of the cork too on the pocket tops. And then I'll rivet it as well, and it gives me, you know, just something more to look at. So I'm going to go back to the machine now, stitch down just these short sides, and then we're going to flip. And probably I'll baste this shut just so nothing shifts on me, and then we got to baste these guys together. My idea is that this folded edge will be nice along the bottom, and then I won't have to, you know, what you were going to get anyways with the way that she had you cut it and sew it. But now I don't have to worry about it because it's just going to be nice on its own. So here we go. I will have to hit this with an iron, which I know you never see me do. But on things like this, it's necessary. Okay, let's baste these guys into place. And I also know that somebody out there is going to want to tell me that I shouldn't be ironing with only a wool mat on my cutting mat because it can warp it. I know, guys. I say you do whatever you want. It can warp it. It has warped it, but it's never stayed warped in my experience. Even if it gets a little warm, which is totally fine, but if it does, it'll get a little bubble, and then it goes right back down once it cools. Don't take my word for it. I'm just saying that's my experience. Okay, so now I have my little topper piece here, and what I want to do first is fold this in half, almost in half, to create a nice edge so that when I lay it, I know it's where it's going. So it has that nice indentation. I'm going to use 1/4 inch double stick tape on this guy down both long edges. Reiterate that fold. Now, if you noticed, I didn't fold it all the way down to the edge, and I did that intentionally, and that is so I'm going to put the edge that's farther down on what will be the inside of the pocket. So that way when I'm top stitching from the outside of the pocket and I'm stitching right next to the long edge here, I know for sure that it is catching this backside. And because I only put interfacing on one side of my pocket, I'm going to put the side that has the interfacing as the outside of the pocket. So this side, the shorter side, is going to be my outside. So that's the side I'm going to peel off first. And I'm going to lay it. I'm going to do my very best to keep this as straight as possible. Like so. And then now, when I fold this and encase it, I know that the edge is exactly where it needs to be. Let's actually put it on backwards. This is the front. Perfect. So now I just need to go and add some, I'm going to go add one stitch right along this long edge here, and then I'm probably going to trim these little tails off. I'm just going to go do that. Trust me, I'll be back. Okay, so see, so this is the front here. You can see I got nice straight stitch. Let me flip to the back because I was, because I over folded it on purpose. You could see that it, you know, just gave me enough room to make any errors if I needed to, on accident, obviously. Now I'm going to trim these down so that they're even with my pocket. And then because I trimmed that, I am going to just touch that with some Mod Podge just to be safe. Okay. So now we need to find the placement for our pocket on the inside lining of our bag. Get this hot iron out of the way here. Okay, so make sure that your bag is the right direction. That would be a big bummer. Okay, so as the pattern outlines, you're gonna put the bottom of the pocket 1.5 inches up from the bottom panel. So use my ruler here. This is going to be nice and close here. I'm going to have to maintain my seam allowances when I'm sewing. I'm going to have to be really careful about that. Okay, so that looks good right there. So I'm going to use my Sew Tights to hold this in place. These are so good for these pieces that you don't have clips to reach. And then I know that Linds, she always puts like pen pockets, which that could be cool. Sometimes I like to make things hard on myself. Just throw everything inside of a bag. It's also why I don't carry a big bag. But I think I'm just going to split mine in half. I'm going to go just traditional on it. So my pocket ended up being 9.5. So I'm going to do a 1/2 inch channel, or at least a 3/8 of an inch channel, so that I can put a rivet. Or do I need to? Nope, I'm just going to go right down the center. But I'm not going to sew up onto this top section here. I'm going to start sewing right below that section And then that way I can put a rivet up top and I won't be in any danger of messing with the threads. So I'm just going to make a couple of marks using my chalk pen, wherever that thing ran off to. Isn't it so funny? It's like crazy how quick you lose things in here. Now we're back up. Okay, so I'll go there. The only thing that you want to be careful of with these sew tights is that because they are magnetic, they'll shift on your plate. If you have a metal plate down there, and you do not want to sew over that bar. We are going to crunch it all the way down. At least it's not cork. Then I'm going to add a couple more over here too, just for security reasons. And then also that way it all matches. Oh, I just remembered I forgot to add my tag. I was going to add it right there. Oh, shoot. Well, sorry, tag. I'll try you another day. Okay, we have our side panels done now. And now we get to install the scary zipper. These zippers are always a little intimidating, which I'm sure y'all can agree. But we will get through it, won't we? Okay, I want to mark my center here. I want to be sure that this is as straight as possible. I'm not going to take any chances by snipping into it just because. Did it mark? There. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same on this guy here. And now the reason I'm not like super confident with this is I've done these types of zippers like on the Tremont and then even on the Snack Pack. And when I do this curve with cork, a lot of times this front curve, the front of the pocket, after you flip it and top stitch it, it just gets a little wonky. But I was going to avoid it and I was going to do fabric through here. And then I thought, you know what? You'll only get better if you practice. And since this bag is for me, then it's the perfect bag to practice on. All right, so I am going to do the snips in the zipper because I'm not scared of that. I do not want to mess up these panels if I can avoid it. Burn that though, that got a little gross. Okay, so now we're going to attach it to this part first. This is what's going to become the front of the zipper. And I'm going to use my double stick tape around this edge. Hopefully that'll keep everything all nice and even. I'm going to open up a new pack. So this is the 1/8 inch double stick tape. This is perfect for zippers, in my humble opinion. And I'm going to stick it as close to this edge as possible. And go all the way around. And then just like in the Tremont and the Snack Pack, it doesn't matter if the curves with the tape don't lay perfectly, because as soon as you pull the paper off, it's going to release that tape and then you can just push it down. Now, I noticed in Linds's video earlier, she unzips her zipper to lay it. And so the only thing that you want to really pay attention to is that you're getting the right side of the zipper onto the right side of the panel here. So just be aware of that. So I'm going to pick my paper off. And then now I am just going to lay my edges or my middles up. I'll line these up first before I unzip. And then we'll try it this way. And then of course, we'll snip into the zipper just teensy tiny bits. And it'll help that stretch. Heck, maybe it'll get me a better top stitch zipper. Let's see. Okay, make sure all your edges are lined up. That one looks good. And then let's move on to this side. As one Ace Ventura would say, like a glove. Okay, that looks good. I also noticed that Lindsay clipped her zipper out of the way, and that seems like a genius move. Let's try that too. Okay, so at this point, she went and basted, but I'm just going to add some more tape since this acts like basting. And then keep her moving. Take this moment to thank my patrons, because without them, and really without all of you guys supporting me, especially on Patreon, I wouldn't have the flexibility to make videos like this and to be doing this like backpack bash situation, because otherwise I would just have to be hustling and bending all the time. And I'm just really appreciating that I don't have to do that every single day anymore. This gives me the flexibility, having the support of my patrons. And every time you guys watch an ad, I make pennies, but it all adds up. And so I just want to thank you for being here and watching and commenting and liking and sharing and subscribing and all of that. It's so helpful. And it really helps my page grow. And so I'm just really, really thankful for all of you. So thanks, guys. Okay. So this guy wants to be a little pain in the booty. Put some clips on here. It's funny how well the tape sticks to the cork. Sometimes fabric, it just really wants to act up. Okay. Let's try this again. want to be so careful not to get any bumps up in these curved areas. Anywhere really, but these curved areas will really give you a run for your money. So just take your time. Push that zipper tape down. So you can see right here where it wants to bump up. So I'm just going to go back in and I'm going to keep easing it in. Don't skip this part. Of course, now my interfacing wants to come unstuck. Naturally, why wouldn't that happen? Okay. So now, for the fun part, we get to go back over to the machine, and I'm going to stitch cork side up because I have more control that way. And I'm going to stitch all the way around using 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then I'm going to flip and top stitch, and hopefully it looks good. And then before you flip it even, you can kind of feel and see if it feels funky. It feels like it's laying pretty okay in through here. Feels like there might be one little fold there. I'm just going to grab my pinking shears and trim up these corners, and then let's flip it. Hopefully it looks good. Cross your fingers. Well, it looks pretty good at first glance. Oh, I guess it'd be nice if I showed you. So when you're finger pressing, you want to be sure that you're adding pressure, that you're pulling on the tape, because what that'll do is it'll stretch everything. So it'll stretch your lining and your cork and your tape to where you get a nice taut fold. And you'll do that the whole time you're sewing. You'll want to continually add pressure and pull on it to hopefully aid in giving you a nice folded edge. Before I start sewing, I am just going to finger press from this side as well. I think I'm also going to switch my bobbin thread out so that it's not contrast thread. Otherwise, if I mess up, it's going to be real obvious. Moment of truth. Well, this one looks smooth. That one's not too bad either. All right, I will take it. Let's check the inside. Looks pretty decent. Got a little haywire right through here, but thankfully, because I switched to black thread, can't even tell. Yay! Okie dokie, artichokes. We're getting closer to being done with the scary part. Hopefully this is the scary part. I don't know. The side panels might be the scary part. What have we gotten ourselves into? Okay. So now we need to add the curved parts to this section and finish this off. And then something else that I wanted to suggest, if you decide to do like the quilting, how I did here on these zipper thingy-majiggers, And then you could do the quilting here on the side pockets. And then you could even get away with doing it here, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because this is just going to attach to the base. So if you wanted to, you could even quilt all through here. And that would give this back such nice structure. So, something to consider. But all right, I digress. So I'm going to find my centers. Sorry. Okay, anyways, got my little snips. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my exterior. So I'm going to add some double stick tape, just like I did to this panel, all the way around this inside section. Okay, and then matching those center lines on the zipper and on this panel. So this one's going to be funky. So, okay, start with it away from you and then find your center and then push together or clip it or whatever, however you're adhering it. And so it's going to seem like they're going in opposite directions, and they will for a second. But as soon as we start to curve this piece, it's going to swing down and around. Gosh, I remember the first time I did this on a bag. It's like years and years and years ago. I was just so confused, so mind blown about how this was going to work. I remember having the hardest time making the zipper sandwich. And so if you're new to sewing, you can definitely make this bag. You just got to go nice and slow. Take your time. It can be done. Oh my gosh. This double stick tape is sticking to my table. But I would say probably try it with more forgiving materials first if you're newer to sewing. Cotton might have a proclivity to stretch, but if you use a good interfacing, that should stop that from happening. But cotton is so much thinner than all of these materials, so it might be a little bit easier for your first go. But hi, my name's Nicole, and I like to make things challenging. Okay, so I am going to baste this one in place just because I already have it clipped and it just seems like it's going to be easier than unclipping and adding tape and all that jazz. So I'm going to go and baste this down, this side up, right side up, and work my way around. So let's go get that done. Okay, so now we need to attach this lining top piece to this exterior. And so we're going to lay it essentially the same way that we did last time. But how did I do that? Okay, I'm having a mental block here. Here we go. So last time I actually laid it this way, but this time I'm going to lay it this way. And then you're going to take this so that the right side of the panel lays to the wrong side of the zipper down here. And then we got to clip all the way around, just like we did before. And so I like to flip to where the zipper is showing, or it's like zipper side up, because it pulls it taut. And then just carefully clip all the way around. And now if you want to, you can make little snips into your panel here. It's up to you. It'll definitely help with that easing in there. So I've got this basically eased in. I need to work on this one a little bit more. Okay. So see, this is how it wants to lay. It wants to lay where the main panel flips forward. But the way that I always like to think about this, when easing two curves in together, if you can get them to lay as straight as possible, you're going to get the nicest edge on it. So when I'm laying, I'm not trying to follow the curve per se. I'm just laying the two together and kind of like applying pressure until it flattens the edges together. And then I'm clipping. So same thing, I get to this point of the curve, just kind of manipulate it until it's flat, till it essentially becomes a straight edge. And then you'll see, once you get it sewn and you flip it, it'll assume like naturally that curve, but I don't know, I've always had a better time trying to make curves. I don't know what I'm trying to say. I don't know. Whatever. You do it however you want to do it. Whoa. Look how strong I am. But see, so I had a big ease here. It was a nice big overhang. So I'm going to pull it back up. I matched up this bottom edge, and then now I'm going to work it back up and in, because I need this lining piece to be the same measurement as this exterior piece. Otherwise, it's going to be pulling. And so when you get those easement issues, I just line up where it needs to be, and then I'll just go back and start working these other clips, start shifting and maneuvering things around. Because somewhere in here I clipped it awkwardly. So there we go. It's already able to ease it in. And that's something that I've found with experience. I'll clip things and it's so cattywampus, and then I'll just go back through and just start working the clips, start moving, start manipulating, push things around a little bit, and 90% of the time it works out. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I get huge bubbles in it. But most of the time you can ease in whatever you're trying to. Okay, so I think I'm going to try to stitch it with the cork side up, because the most important part to me is that these curves look nice. And if I'm stitching with the cotton side up, I'm not going to be able to have eyes on the cork. So I want to be able to push and pull and manipulate the cork if I see an issue come up. So this is just, you have to be very aware of what you're doing, where you're at, where your fingers are at, and push and pull and manipulate as you're going through. And so I'm going to go over from my basting stitches and just start slowly stitching in. Try to get you closer again. Such a hard angle here. I'm going to move my zipper out of the way. That might help ease some of this tension here too. I didn't check to see how Linds does it before I started this, but you know, she might even have it in her, she might even have a good tip in the pattern on how she does this. This is where it always gets squirrely for me. Okay. And sometimes when you're sewing, it just looks like a mess as you're making it. And then after it's done, you know, you hit it with an iron, finger press really well, and you'll be surprised. The problem here is there's just so much fabric condensed in this one area. It doesn't have anywhere to go. So you just have to fight it. But what I'm focusing on is that there aren't any bubbles in the cork side of this. And then the other trick too with cork is that you don't want to crumple it like this for as long, like you want to take your time, but hurry up essentially, because if you leave these hard creases in cork for a long period of time, it will eventually crease. And a lot of them you can just get out by steaming the cork or ironing it gently, but it's just something to be aware of. What is it? Oh my God. You know that sound when you run out of bobbin thread? Just got me. Wouldn't you know it ran out right in the really crappy part of the curve. I'll tell you what, if I didn't have bad luck, I'd have no luck at all. See, so this panel just like wants to flip this way. Let's see. Oh, I got a big owie just from where I had to start and stop. I didn't pull it back very well. Okay, so I went back and I picked those stitches out where it was funky right here and then re-clipped it. I'm going to try just stitching it again. Because after this, then we have to top stitch it all. And hopefully when we top stitch it, it'll make everything kind of lay cool. Maybe everything will just start acting cool, man. I guess we'll see. See, so again, I'm just trying to get it to where this edge is flat, or straight rather. All right, now let's try it. I think I'm just gonna go right in to top stitching, because what's happening is I'm like really stressing this cork out by pulling on it so much. So I just want to get past this step and then I can try to steam it out a little bit. All right. Whew. So I think if I can get some of this stress out of here, it'll look good. Okay, so I just wanted to show you, I was steaming this side of the cork out just because it got so like worked whenever I was dealing with all that. And so it's being this far away, you can't really tell kind of how, I guess maybe now you can. But see, it just looks like it was crumpled. So here's the side that I haven't done yet. You can see it's like all wrinkly and pulled and all that. And so what I like to do is I take a piece of cotton, and you want to be really, really aware of your nylon teeth if you're doing this. Do not iron your teeth because it'll melt. But so I just spray some water. Then you can actually hear it steaming. And I just go around and kind of work the cork like that. And sometimes it does wonders, sometimes it doesn't, you know, work great. Just all depends on the cork as well. I have noticed that this Ecolux cork, it seems to be a little on the thinner side, which is great because it makes it flexible, but it also makes it more susceptible to being crunched. But I think it already looks a little better. So I'm just going to hope that it keeps getting better, you know, with more, the farther I get in the construction, hopefully it won't be super noticeable. And yeah, it'll be fine. See, here's kind of a big one. Let's try that one again. And I hear conflicting things from some people. I hear do not iron cork because it's has an adhesive under there. They say don't iron it because it, you know, you don't want to make the glue come apart. And then I hear other people that iron it directly on it with no problem. So, you know, take everything with a grain of salt and try things out for yourself. See what you think. Might as well hit this side since I've got the iron going, huh? Now, I am a little bit anxious about the next step too, because we have to attach our side panels. And I know that that is going to be a challenge because you do it separately so that the inside is a nice seamless lining. So there's no visible stitching or binding around this edge. So hopefully it all works out. But what I really want to get to the part where I attach this guy. That's where I want to get to for now. So something else before we move on, at this point you would be attaching your D-rings here, but because I'm using these little guys, I need to figure out where to put them. And so my only qualm in kind of thinking this through is that you're not supposed to attach it to the lining because, again, like I just talked about, you attach your lining separately than your exteriors to complete the inside. So then I was thinking I could potentially do it vertical, but they don't quite fit all the way. It fits okay there, but it doesn't quite fit all the way over here. Ultimately, I think that would be the coolest placement. I might be able to make that work. Otherwise, I can do it like down here, or I could straddle. But I think I'm going to try to make it work here. So in the pattern, she tells you to put the D-rings 1.5 inches up from the bottom. So I'm just going to attach mine in the same placement. Well, hopefully this works out. So 1.5. And I'm thinking it'll be okay to attach them right here because this is, I feel like, enough out of the way to where I can work with both the exterior and the interior on the next steps. So I didn't realize here, but my mic was out, and now this is a fun voiceover. We need to add our straps following the pattern's suggestion or instruction, rather. We need to lay the inside of the strap on the 3-inch mark on either side of our top panel. And this is technically the front panel of the backpack. And so yeah, lay it like that. Do it at a slight angle. You can see how I have the inside corner draped up and over, or not the inside, the outside corner draped up and over about 1/2 inch. And what that'll do is make the straps lay nicely on your shoulders so they'll follow the natural curve of your body. Now we need to take our back panel and we need to sandwich the straps in betwixt the two. And we want to be careful to just get the 2 exterior panels here. I'm going to take a sip of coffee while my slow self watches this recording with you. I love good coffee. All right, so I think what I'm paying attention to here is I'm just making sure that my exteriors are lined up nicely, and then I'm explaining to you that after we sew the two exteriors, we're going to lay our two interiors together and sew those separately. Okay, so as always, I am not following the pattern's seam allowance guide, and I'm just going to do a 1/4 inch. I did not notice an issue with this, but the pattern says to use 3/8. I am back stitching well over my straps, which you will see later on that that does not matter. Little sad foreshadowing for you there. So just continue to sew all the way across, being sure to keep your interior out of the way. You do not, oh, yep, see, I did it right there. I caught it on accident, so now here I am unpicking stitches. I feel like that should be the title of my memoir. Unpicking stitches, sewing with SewGnar. Okay, so once you unpick your stitches after not paying attention, then go back and restart your stitch line, stitching all the way across only through your exterior, guys, only through your exterior. Okay, and then once you complete your exterior, you are going to lay your linings together, right sides together, clip across the top, and sew just like before. Now this was the part all day that I had been waiting to get to. I was so excited. I really wanted, I couldn't wait to add that top handle. Okay, so you are going to take your straps and make sure that they are facing your back panel, which is the panel that has the pocket. And what we're going to do here is I'm going to add some double stick tape onto my main panel, so the cork side on the wrong side there, and I'm going to stick my exterior and my lining together. Now, Linds talks about butterflying these seams open, and I didn't want to do that. So I just laid them in opposite directions and adhered them using double stick tape. You also want to be certain that all of your panels line up nicely on each edge. All right, so with the panel right side up, we need to lay our grab handle right over that top seam. So I like to add some double stick tape right down the center of the wrong side of my grab handle, and then being careful to align the short edges of the grab handle with the edges of the backpack panel, I'm going to stick it down on top of the backpack straps and centered. And you'll notice that once you have it all taped down, that the actual handle itself will pop up from the backpack panel, and that is what we're looking for here. And then when we sew, what's going to happen is we're going to sew right over our straps, being sure to add some extra durability to those in the process. Okay, so with your panel right side up, you're going to go in 1 inch from that long, or from the short edge of your grab handle, and sew a box all the way around your grab handle, as you can see me doing here. And in that, you're going to catch the actual backpack strap itself. If you'd like to, you can do an X to add some extra durability, or you can add rivets, totally up to you, and then repeat on the other side, being sure that your backpack strap is out of the way. Okay, so I am adding rivets here to the strap side of the panel just for added durability, because I did not do that X stitch marking. That's not marking. I didn't do the X stitching. So I'm adding rivets just to add durability and for the overall look. And at this point in the video, I was pretty over it. I think I was pretty hungry as well. And look, my camera even is checking out and signing off. But yeah, so after this, my mic, I figure out that whole situation. And so we're going to go back to normal video right here. Okay, so I'm glad I took a break and had some dinner because it gave me the motivation to finish, and I realized that my microphone wasn't working. It seems like it is now, so I think we're good. So I hope you enjoyed that weird little voiceover that I had to do. Then I also realized that I hadn't cut out my side panels. So I went ahead and did that. I got them interfaced with some decovil light. And then I decided last minute that I wanted to put like a small little water bottle elastic. And there's nothing small about this elastic, but this is what I had in my stash that I think would look the best. So I just kind of laid my water bottle on it, and I think that this will work. And so I'm just going to lay it I'm going to measure it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inches and lay the top of my elastic at the 6-inch line. So 2, 4, 6. So just like that. I'm just going to, let's try to make it straight, Nicole. How about that? So there, I'm going to pin it like so. And then pull this side over and attach it there. And so I'm just going to tack this down next time I go to the other side of my machine and get that into place. Then I think that that'll be a nice little addition. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Slow down. You can also add mesh pockets. I think that would work really well. I don't have any mesh. You can do mesh pockets. You could do another set of pockets like this. But I know that this is not gonna, there's no way that that's gonna hold my water bottle once I get it all attached. But maybe like a regular single-use plastic water bottle would fit in there. But again, like a phone or whatever else that you may need. But anyways, we are now onto the side attaching section of the tutorial. Scary. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to do exactly as Lynn suggests. And I'm going to, well, first I'm going to find my center. But I'm going to tack mine down at the 1 inch at the top. Because if you've ever made a bag that has a tight curve like this, then you know how challenging it can be to keep everything from shifting. So Lindsay suggests, sorry, I had to concentrate for a second there. Lindsay suggests laying it right sides together, being very careful that you're only grabbing your exterior, line up your centers, and then tack this down about 1 inch across the top. So then as we're easing it in, it doesn't move around on us. So I'm going to do that on both sides and I will be right back. Or maybe we'll just work from the other side of the table. And so I guess this is a pretty arduous part because it is, everything's going together one at a time and we're not just laying these pieces all together. Although it stands to reason that you certainly could. If you did not want to do this method, if this is too challenging for you, or maybe you're just a little bit too overwhelmed by it, you could easily lay these pieces wrong sides together and then do this all in one fell swoop and then bind the whole thing. And a plus of that is you would get it done quicker. It'd probably be a little bit easier and your binding would provide a lot of structure in the side seams. But we're going to do it as it's written and follow directions for once. Yay, go me. Okay, so again, be sure to pull your lining out of the way. Else you're going to be sad, sad person. Oh, whoa. Flip around over. Okay. So, first thing I'm going to do real quick is check my bobbin because, okay, I'm good. The last thing you want to do is start sewing these seams, these side edges, and then run out of bobbin thread. So I'm going to back you up and then. So now I'm just going to do as Lindsay suggests. So flip the lining out of the way and then grab that side panel and go to the bottom. These corks are so soft and slippery. Okay, so I have it pinned there. Now I'm just going to work my way up this whole side panel. in a perfect world, you get a nice eased in curve. Okay, so far so good. And then she says do the same on this side. So start at the bottom. Okay, this is where it gets a little trickier because your lining, this side is a lot shorter. So just be aware of that. Okay, and then she also suggests that when you sew, you start sewing from the bottom and sew up to here, then stop, and then do the same thing here. So we are going to give it a go. It's definitely tight in here with everything coming together. It's that pocket. So I don't want to repeat from earlier where I accidentally stitched over my lining. And then when I get here to where this pocket meets the side panel, I'm going to add a few extra security stitches here. We're getting close. See, it gets a little bit wonky right in through here. I'm not sure how it's going to look, so I'm not going to mess with it yet. I'm going to do the other side, and then if it looks bad, I'll go back and fix it. So I just flipped it so that I'm starting from the bottom again. Usually when you attach side panels, you always sew with the gusset side up, so this definitely just feels a little weird. So I'm trying really hard not to stretch the cork either, because that will also make it wonky. Okay, the big reveal. I mean, it looks pretty good through here. It looks like a nice straight curve. Let's flip it and see if my eyes deceive me. It's a little bit of deception there. It's a little bit wonky right through there. So I feel like if I tighten my stitch length up and if I can hit that curve just one more time, not only will it give it a little bit more security, but it might make it look a touch better. But it's coming together. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm just going to lower my stitch length to a 3. My thinking on that is that the tighter the stitch length through this curve, the less opportunity it'll have to flex. So I'm just trying to figure out where it was that it was a little wonky. I'm going to guess that it was here because this is where it flexes quite a bit. So I'm just gently pulling on it, applying pressure, but I want to be careful not to put too much pressure. And I'm just going to meet right back up with that curve that I started. And we're just going to say that that one's good. Not even going to check. Now I'm going to flip over here to the other side and we'll get it clipped and stitched. See if it's any easier doing the sides, clipping them one at a time. So I can see here I've got a little bit of a gap happening. I'm just going to pull on the main panel and hope for the best. Should we just try to keep going? Oh my gosh, she's getting crazy. Since I'm already here, a little off on my bottoms, but it's not too bad, if I do say so myself. So let's check her out. This one's got me sweating. She looks good in there. That one looks a little screwy. Let's see. This is the one that I did like I was told to do. This is the side where I just kept on going. You really can't even tell, but I'll show you because why not? You could see where I kind of double sewed over that little section of cork. Let's see. Do I want to go back and fix that? I kind of do. Now when I find little screw balls like this, what's important is to figure out before you flip it back where the mistake is, or else you're just going to be looking and not knowing. But so I like to just poke it in where I can grab it, and then now I know when I get the bag flipped right side out or wrong side out, mark it, and then now I know where the mistake is and I don't have to go hunting for it. Okay, so the mistake is right here. Oh, yep, I can see it right there. We're just kind of doubled up. So I'll just pick those threads and re-stitch. Then it goes gold. Right as rain. I wonder, there's already a stitch line from before. Just gonna take a little peek. Okay, no, so it's still messed up. I can still see the error right there. So I gotta pick out that second line of stitching. Oh yeah, it's right here. It's the only bad part about that beautiful webbing is the weave on it is so thick that it likes to fray. So it's fraying from the inside here. Especially because I'm agitating the seam so much. So I think the moral of the story is to follow the directions and then you won't have to unpick your stitches. But we had to try, right? It seems like it's going to happen again. That I'm not real sure why. So I'm going to try to stitch it from this side. See what we can't do. Yeah, that's not going to fly. Not for long, anyways. Okay, here we go. Third time's charm. Okay, now let's do our linings. Gosh, this bag is held together by thread. I know that's a really dumb thing to say, but literally there's just threads everywhere. Okay, so same method. Let's mark our centers here. There we go. So yeah, she's thick down there. It's like really hard because the amount of fabric that you're working with in through here is not a lot, and there's so much jumbled up down there. Okay, we got it tacked. Look at what a great job I did with my decovil. Beautiful, huh? It's my finest work. Okay, so also the other thing that I'm trying to keep in mind, you know how I always make bags is I make the linings smaller so that they fit inside really nicely. And I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bit of a concern with this bag because every piece is the same size. However, the bottom panels are also the same size. So I can't really mess with the sizing too much without expecting issues. So we're going to try it. I'm just going to, I'll keep my seam allowance down here, my same one, and then I'll probably tighten it a little bit through here as much as it'll allow me to up into this curve. This curve is not here to play games. But we've made it this far. What is that? A rivet. Okay, so I'm just going to start tightening up my seam allowance right here. Being careful where my pocket is. Remember we talked about that a while ago. Now my whole goal here is just to make these two seams meet up. Let's see. Can she do it? Well, she ain't pretty, but she's done. Okay. Now, let's do this side. Oof, God, this one seems like it's going to be a challenge. There's just so little room in through here. And especially with the seam allowance too. Oh my gosh. Y'all, I break these clips all the time. It's just too strong. It seems like this is going to be a mess. Look at this. What can we do to mitigate that? We gonna just get her done, guys. Okay, you know, can't win them all, right? I'm going to tack my little elastic down before attempting to sew this guy. Okay, here we go. Threads so I can see them. Let's try this way. All right, we're just going to keep this one pushing. Oh, she is short though. Hold on. So definitely like the exteriors didn't seem as challenging, probably for obvious reasons, because we have so many layers and they're all in different directions right now because of just, I mean, how big the bag is. It's kind of hard to avoid. So this is not to be unexpected in the least. It's a skill building bag is what I would call this one. You know, these bags where you like really got to earn it. They're always fun when they're done though. You really treasure them. I have no doubt that this one is going to be the same way. We just got to get this little girl eased in over here. Or at the very least, if there's going to be, you know, some weirdness, you want it to be up where it's going to be in the top of the bag, where people aren't going to see it. And it's not going to make any difference whatsoever to the structure. Okay. Now. I'm like super close to the seam. I can feel it under there, and I don't quite know what it is. I think it might be that's got to be the pocket panel. Okay, that's okay. Oh, I'm also sewing on my main panel. That explains the thickness. I wonder if that matters. Probably. I was thinking that might actually be a good thing, because when you flip it, then it'll be like really nested together because it's sewn together. Literally. I don't know if that'll work. Don't you just love unpicking stitches at 10:40 at night? Damn, stitched all the way down here. This bag really should have that made with cuss words tag in it. I wonder it felt so thick. I was literally sewing it to the main panel. Jeez. I really just feel like I have to sew it like this. I know she said start from the bottom and sew up. I just don't really, I don't know that I can do that. So we're just gonna try it this way. At least this way I can keep my eye on the main panel and not start sewing it again. Success. Okay. One side down. One to go. I feel like a cylinder arm machine would probably be good here, because then all this weight, it would pull the bag out of the way. I don't know. Could be totally wrong. I'm wrong about most things. Okay. Okay. That's got to be it. Let's go trim it up and flip her. Okay. Here we are. So here's all of her sides. Siamese twins bags. Ooh, that side looks sad. Okay, I'm just going to trim down what I can and hope that she is just a black swan, you know? She'll come into her beauty as soon as I flip her right side out. But I definitely have some areas where I tightened up my seam allowance that have a lot of excess. If I cut a hole in this bag right now, so help me God. Like you guys have heard me do a lot of pep talking to myself in this one. You're welcome. Whew. I do not have faith that this looks pretty outside, but you know what? We're going with it. Okay, next step is to flip it. Oh no. My whole strap is coming unraveled now. But okay, we got to do the hokey pokey and turn this thing around. I'm going to add a couple clips here so this stops shedding. Okay. Okay, okay, okay. One side. Please don't be ugly. Please don't be ugly. Oh. It's my webbing is fraying. That's a bummer. I don't really know if there's much that I can do about that. I guess good thing this is on the back side. Okay, so next step is to line up all of your edges or corners. I don't think there's much to line up there. That one is right on top of each other. And then in theory, these edges are supposed to be the same height. As you can see, mine have some disparities. Okay. It's definitely usable. This is a bummer. I don't like that. I really don't know how I could salvage that. I mean, obviously, I'm going to try to like steam this cork again. It was looking good before all of that, but you know. I'm glad that this isn't an order for somebody because I would definitely be really upset. But the fact that this is for me, I can live with this because it's not, hopefully, not going to change the structural aspect of it. But yeah, it's just that whole black woven piece. Should certainly probably stop pulling on it. Okay, so I'm gonna move on. I'll cry about it later. I'm going to go and add a basting stitch around the whole bottom, and then we're going to install our bottom. While I'm over at the machine, I'm going to baste these together as well. And I had this thought earlier when I was looking at these, when I quilted this, I should have just done them both together, but maybe next time in several years when I make this bag again. I'm just going to snip my centers here so I can line them up with the base. Okay. Look at me, matching corners, triangles, whatever. Jeez. This must have shrunk when I quilted it, because this I cut directly from the pattern piece. That's funny. Felt like a NASCAR driver taking all them left turns. Okay, now let's baste this bad boy. Last step, last sewing step. So I'm just going to trim off this excess on the base here, obviously. Certainly can see what I'm doing. And then what we need to do is we lay it to the inside of the bag, and then we just have to bind it. So this is what we're looking like right now. And I mean, it's not bad. It actually looks cute inside. I'm excited to get the binding on it. And then I might just work on the edges a little bit with an iron. This side looks really good. And now I understand. See, I always thought looking at the Guardians that it was a rounded edge, but because we sew across that straight, now I understand why they're always flat right there, which makes sense. This one looks really good. And this one, I mean, it doesn't look bad. It's just the webbing pulled. So yeah, it'll be okay. It's all gonna be okay, guys. So I am just gonna trim all of this down, just so that it's nice and even. And so that way, I mean, if it's even, it has a better chance of sitting correctly. So that's the main goal. And I just want to get all these little strings and fuzz out of the way so that they don't trick me when I'm trying to sew my bottom on. Now we're all trimmed up and looking good. And I'm going to assume that it's supposed to be wrong side out. Sorry, let me pull the pattern up again. My bad. There it is. Okay. So, sorry if you see the back of my head. You're probably used to it by now, huh? Okay, yeah, that looks like the inside of the bag. So we're going to flip the bag wrong side out. Undo my zipper. I feel like this bag would be an absolute beast to make with like super thick textiles. It'd be nice not having to use interfacing for sure, but maybe like waxed canvas, a double waxed canvas, inner outer. I think that would be definitely doable. See, it's like the insides look okay. I don't know. There's that one spot. Had a hard time with that one spot. Sewing curves is always really hard, so I'm not shocked that this one was a bit of a challenge, but the next one will be better. Okay, so we just need to lay this guy and match up our centers, which I don't see anymore. That's cool. So I'm just going to try to find my centers by laying my seams together. So laying the side seam here to the side seam there. And I'm trying to do the same thing here. So backside seam, here we go. Historically, I'm like terrible at marking my centers. I always forget to do it. And I wonder why sometimes my bags just sit just a touch sideways. Okay, center's marked. Luckily that doesn't matter on this one. So we're just gonna go around, clip all of our centers, and you know the drill. Okay, I'm just gonna go to the machine and I'm gonna baste this, and then we'll add the binding. And then we're off to the races. So, there we go. It laid in really nice, but now it's shifting on me. Which means the whole bottom is probably shifting a little bit. Look like it just puckered on me. Don't do that now. I'm not sure why it did that. Sorry, I didn't realize it. Couldn't see, but basically I'm just trying to figure out where this shifting happened. I'm assuming it's in one of these curves, but it laid in so nicely, and then it's just kind of being a butthole right now. I would rather have the shift on this side because this is the front panel. So if I'm gonna have it, I'm gonna try to move it over, which can be done. And a lot of times you can take out some of it in your corners, or not take out some of it. Sorry, that's not proper English. You can create more ease in the corners, and see how now the bottom, or the main panel, it's kind of overhanging the bottom there, which that can kind of alleviate some of this bubbling that's happening somewhere. The problem when this happens is this is why bags sit sideways, because a rectangular bottom is sitting slightly askew, and so it makes the whole bag just kind of sit Humpty Dumpty style. But again, first time, challenging design, and it's late. So this is probably, I'm so motivated to finish it though. I want to see it done. I've been waiting to make this bag for a really, really long time. So I'm excited to see it done. And I'm just going to have to take the knowledge that I have of bag making and apply it. Okay, where did that? Okay, right there. So now I'm trying with my bottom side up. Before I was sewing with my main panel up, but now I'm going to try to see if I can ease it in with the bottom on top. And so my goal is going to be, once I get to this corner, to be able to lift the whole bag and ease that corner in. Here we go. When you do this, you have to be so careful of your fingers inside the bag. This is like prime time of sewing through your finger. I hope I do not do it during this video. Okay, I think I got it. So you can see where I had to ease this excess into this corner right here. Can you see it? Oh, I can. So let's go flip it and see how it looks, because it might look great. And then once I add the, as you could see, it's a little wonky there too, but once I add the binding, hopefully it'll be good. So it's definitely sitting a little bit on this side here. You could see this is where I had those issues. That's where it folded over on itself. But I was able to get the issue to move to the back of the bag and not be on the front, which I'm happy about. Because originally it was right here. I can tell just because I have all these loose threads. But this isn't that bad, folks. This isn't that bad. It's such a cute design. Let's try them a little. It's like the loosest water bottle holder ever. Oh, that's hilarious. I do kind of think that this bag as a bound bag would work really, really great, because it would just, everything would be so nice and flush. And I think when I try this bag again, that's the method that I'll do. I'll just bind every single piece, or I'll bind, you know, the side panels and the bottom instead of trying to ease it in. And I think for me personally, that will work better. I might try to do something to avoid some of this thickness because of the materials that I used. You know, the cork, this is 4 layers of cork plus interfacing plus cotton on the right here. And it's like, you know, half inch. So this is a very, very tight corner. And then to have to ease that into these curves, I'm just not the greatest at this style of bag, which is on me. I love this style of bag, but this stuff intimidates me. But I'm definitely glad I made it, because I'm going to carry this with pride for sure. And it is so pretty with this cork. But now we just got to get her done. I mean, honestly, I think I'm going to keep the binding for another day, because you can't even really tell for me. And if you want to see me do binding, you could see it on the next Guardian that I make. And I might wake up tomorrow with a different mindset on it, but my watch keeps telling me I have 10% power remaining, and I think it's actually talking about me, not my watch. I'm just getting a little downtrodden, and I want to carry this bag tomorrow, so I want to finish it. I can always go back and add binding. So let's get these straps going. Ouch, with my mismatched hardware. Should have known. I should have known. You know what? I had mismatched hardware. Should have known it was never going to work for me. Okay, so we're going to make these the same way that we make all of our adjustable straps. So slide it over the middle bar and then add your hardware, being sure that you're adding it correctly where they're both out. Oops. And then because this has such a fray capability, I feel like there's a word in there, a new word. I'm gonna add a little cover. I'll show you in just a minute what I mean. So you gotta loop-de-loop it back over this middle bar, which is never a graceful process. Okay. And then so what I want to do is I want to take a piece of cork and wrap it around the edge here so that it finishes it nice and kind of conceals it better. So that way it has less of an opportunity to fray. So let me grab some cork. And so I want it to cover the whole width. Okay, it's got to go here. But so I want it to cover the merge point here. So I'm probably going to do, I'll do 1 inch by, we'll start with 3.5. 1 inch by 3.5. Let's do from here. Let's do 4. Let's see how this looks, because we can always cut it down if it's too much. I started doing this on my bags a while back, and I really like the way that it looks. It just really seals the edges nicely. Okay, so I dig that. So I'm actually going to pull a little bit more excess down and through here. You go back in there. I'm going to throw some glue on this too, because this thing is just really wanting to fray. I mean, you could like dip this whole thing in Mod Podge and let it dry. Then it would seal all the edges. You wouldn't have these issues. Okay, so make sure that you're attaching it to the right piece. It doesn't get attached to this. This is what gets, that's what makes it adjustable. And so I'm centering it right over the crease, or the, whatever you would call the end of the strap. I'm centering it right over that. But you want to do it in such a way that it folds nice. And gosh, this bag is just going to try me until the very end, isn't it? Okay, there we go. And again, I want to reiterate, this is not this bag's fault. This is user error right now. So we're going to tighten this edge up before I put it through everything. Okay, so make sure it's not twisted. Oh, I didn't think about how big of a mess this is going to make. Jesus. Lord help me. It's like I hit every bump in the road on this thing today. That's how it is sometimes, you know? You literally can't be 100% all the time. And if that's how people are representing themselves, I'm sorry, but that is not true. Sewing and creating and getting it right 100% of the time is just not possible. And yeah, I mean, maybe there are definitely people with more skills than me for sure. I'm not trying to say that in the least, but sewing is hard. What we do is hard, and it's okay to make mistakes. But we're not going to give up, right? We're not going to give up. And sometimes you just have bags that just test your damn patience. Okay. 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 We're almost there. Let's get some rivets in these bad boys. And the only thing I want to be really, really aware of is because that seam of the webbing is right in the middle, I need to probably put at least four rivets in here. Otherwise, it's not going to catch it. And the other option is I could just do 2 where the seam is. So let's see how that goes. I think it just might look a little weird if I only do 2 though. Yep, I'm gonna go with 4. Okay, what's going on here? Okay. Whoa, geez Louise. Freaking hit my chair. Okay, the best part of any project. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Look at what I forgot to do. Okay. I'm going to come back to this one tomorrow. Good night, guys. Woo! Well, we made it through that marathon of a sewing video. This has to be one of the longer videos I've ever made, probably second behind the teddy backpack. And I would say the teddy backpack threw me the same way that the Guardian did, but now I can make teddy backpacks with my eyes closed. So I'm really confident and excited to make the second one. I'm thinking about using wax canvas just to, I don't know, try a different textile, and I think that it could have like a cool structure. But yeah, so I know that with a couple more of these, I'll have it in the bag, and I hope that you guys enjoyed the video and gave me a thumbs up and a comment. Be sure to let me know what you think about the video below, and I will see you next week for the 4th video in the Backpack Bash Sewing Bonanza. See you then.